Thank you all for being here today. The citizens to abolish red light cameras have been on this issue for the past 4 years. And now, in the wake of the conviction of John Beals on Tuesday on 20 counts of corruption, tax fraud, and bribery, of a system that was brought through corruption, now has been convicted under the disguise of safety, that this administration, the mayor of the city of Chicago, and many of the city councilmen who refuse to end a policy that has now been convicted and has completely been discredited as being a policy for safety. It is nothing more than greed for revenue, not about safety. After exhaustive studies, scientific studies by Texas A&M, Wayne State College, and the Federal Highway Administration, the city has refused to use any of that information, and to the tune of about $600 million they have raised on the backs of motorists and citizens of Chicago. The city hasn't used $1 of that revenue to do anything about improving traffic safety. This was not about people, this was about paper. We went and we challenged the city council, which did absolutely nothing. 8 aldermen who have signed pledges that they would advocate on behalf of repealing this ordinance have done nothing. We went to the state level, and that is where we were able to challenge State Representative Ken Dunkin well over a year ago to inform him of the injustice of this policy, that this was not about safety, and that we need to look into this policy and rid our state of a draconian policy that is hurting our citizens and hurting our city and hurting our state. State Representative Ken Dunkin stepped up. He stepped up to the plate. We drafted legislation. He is a sponsor of that legislation. Republican colleagues of his are co-sponsoring this legislation. LaShawn Ford is co-sponsoring this legislation. And we are calling for Michael Madigan, the Speaker of the House, who has refused to call this bill that has been in rules for well over a year to abolish red light cameras and speed cameras here in the state of Illinois, in the city of Chicago, and the county of Cook. In the wake of this trial, it was pointed out over and over, Michael Madigan's 13-ward political organization received $5,500 in contributions from the corrupt Red Flex through Martin O'Malley and John Beals, who was his top precinct captain. So maybe this is the reason why Michael Madigan refuses to call another lawmaker who the people have elected to pass law in the interest of people. Michael Madigan is refusing to call this bill. We are demanding, in the wake of a trial, a federal conviction of 20 counts that shows that this system is a system of criminal activity. It is not about protecting our citizens. This is a policy where the city and our government is feeding on illegal, inappropriate, illegally gotten revenue on the backs of its citizens. We're calling for Michael Madigan to call that bill to the floor for a vote. The bill is HB 141, House Bill 141, sponsored by State Representative Ken Dunkin, calls for a statewide ban on red light camera and speed cameras in the state of Illinois. Michael Madigan, call the bill. I'm going to ask for Ken Dunkin to come and give us some comments as to why he's doing what he's doing and how he's come to get involved. State Representative.
Thank you, Mark Wallace, and thank you. This coalition is very diverse. They're demographically diverse. They are citizens who work who live, some are retired, but they're very, very clear about the injustice and the illegal cameras that are all over our city and that has disrespected illegally motorists across the city of Chicago. All I'm asking today is for Speaker Michael Madigan to call House Bill 141 that's been held hostage in the Rules Committee since last spring with a number of sponsors on the legislation and just to let it hit a committee. We want to be able to have it hit the House floor for a vote up or down. That's it. There's no other questions really to ask. Allow the bill to hit the floor so we can run it. You know, part of the pathetic and sad situation of this red light camera issue in our city is the recent federal corruption charge that Mr. Wallace recently pointed out. 20 counts, an indictment on 20 counts. Rampant fraud and corruption for the last 10 plus years in the city of Chicago off the backs of the state citizens. These are the citizens who are going to work, going to hospitals, coming home. They are respectful drivers by and large, and to be gouged and to be played by the scam of the century of garnering close to $600 million in fines and fees, doubling, suspending people's driver's license because of a scam of rampant corruption. Now, I understand that Michael Madigan's top precinct captain and his top political apparatus financially benefited from these red light cameras. But at least let the bill, House Bill 141, come to the floor for a vote. Let the citizens who are elected in the House and in the Senate vote. That's all we're requesting. The bill is responsible. The bill is not in reaction to the recent verdict. The conviction. This has been a subject matter for this community and people all across this city for a number of years. Look at this audience here. Look at this crowd. Look at this coalition. This brought all of us together to talk about a solution. And the solution is for House Bill 141 to hit the floor so the people here in this city and this state can receive justice now.
Call one.
These are the leaders and they're well educated on this issue and then some. I need my lawmakers to sign on. Further, more lawmakers to sign on. We're trying to get at least 100 of the 118 House members to sign on, and at least 40 of the 59 in the Senate to sign on to this legislation. The evidence, the corruption, the conviction speaks for itself. Speaker Madigan, let this bill out of committee. Give the people in this city and this state the opportunity to have their voices heard. Let members vote on it up or down.
I would ask the press to ask Speaker Madigan, to ask Mayor Rahm Emanuel, and any other person who is a person in the City Council, the Cook County Commissioner's Office, the Illinois General Assembly, to ask them, how can you defend a system that is wrought with corruption and wrought illegally as a lawmaker? How can you defend a system that is indefensible? I would like to understand that. Now, the mayor will tell you, well, the data is showing it. Every single time that the city has come out with data, that data has been debunked and disproved to be uncredible. The city first came out and said that the cameras were reducing crashes by 47%. Well, after scientific studies, that number was reduced to 15%. But they never bothered to tell you that the same cameras increased rear-end collisions with injuries by 22%.
Yes.
This is nothing more than to protect illegally gained revenue on the backs of its citizens. That's not what we elect politicians to do.
That's it right there. That is a money-making machine for Madigan and his organization, and the city of Chicago, pimping the citizens who drive, going to work, taking their kids to school, going to the hospital. That camera right there, the federal conviction validated exactly what I'm stating to you. So the bill should at least have the opportunity to hit the House floor.
That's right.
That's what this is all about. So tell your state legislator to do the right thing and to support House Bill 141.
141! 141!